We're coming to you live from our studios in Belize City with the evening news on Love Television for Friday, October 21st. We'll get you started with a look at the stories that are making the headlines for today. Teachers can look forward to their full salary for October, but November's wages remain uncertain. We'll bring you an in-depth interview with the Education Minister on this issue, as well as his thoughts on the Gaspar Vega and John Saldiva matters. Financial documents of the Belize Workers Union raise questions of irregularities and brings about allegations of mismanagement. Newly appointed central bank governor speaks to the media on the country's financial status. As we head into the weekend, we can tell you that the proposal still stands that was sent by the Ministry of Education to have the BNTU strike fund finance some of the teachers' salaries. Some compromise has been lent to the situation. However, as the Minister of Education, Patrick Faber, has decided to give the process some time to be ironed out, and with that, teachers will be receiving their complete salary for the month of October.
We decided to delay the withholding of the salaries from this month of October. We will put it off until next month, again to give the BNTU ample time to answer the proposal that we have put forward. This is also being done because we have a few of the managing authorities, particularly the largest one, I think the Roman Catholic management, that is saying we have so many schools, so many teachers, it's hard for us to compile this information. Remember that the strike had gone on up until Tuesday, I believe, and so we still are gathering information. It's hard for us to meet the deadline of 4:30 today, Friday, and so we have said, okay, we won't interfere with the salaries for this month of October, but rather we will move with those deductions at the end of the November month.
Despite the delay in deductions of the teachers' salaries, Minister Faber says the proposal remains to have the BNTU strike fund used to pay the teachers who went on strike. He added that while President of the BNTU, Luke Palacio, has stated that the strike fund is not for that purpose, Minister Faber says that may not be entirely true.
He was saying that the strike fund doesn't have that as its purpose. That in fact the strike fund is a kind of fund to fund activities while the teachers are on strike, on industrial action. And I promptly remind him of a resolution passed at the BNTU convention. I think it was the 42nd convention held in Orange Walk, where the resolution made clear that the strike fund was to be redefined to pay teachers who were denied a salary as a result of strike action. So unless there is something wrong, and I would really love for somebody, one of you in the media or all of you in the media, to question Mr. Palacio about that resolution. And you know, the issue is that we're asking for the union to be responsible to. It encouraged teachers to go on strike. You have been the persons who have done the interviews. You have seen the countless number of officials of the union and regular members of the union who have said that they don't care about the docking of their pay, that in fact the union has their back, that they pay a strike fund, a contribution to that strike fund. And so we're asking the union to be responsible. The government wants to resolve this matter, but it is not as easy as some folks would say. Just pay the teachers. So then what becomes of those teachers who did go to work? Are they to be given additional monies for the fact that they did go to work? And where is that additional money to come from if it is we're going to use the entire monies available for this month to pay the teachers their full salaries? So it's a very difficult situation for us in the government to be in, and we're trying to be careful as we move forward making these decisions. We want to make sure that our players all are aware of why it is we're doing what we're doing.
One of the proposals coming up to the ministry is to pay the teachers in full, whilst demanding that they put in extra hours to make up for the time lost in the classrooms. It would be ideal for those who chose to go on strike, but what happens to those who chose to go to school instead?
Remember that our position as it is today is that there will be the deductions from the salaries. That has not changed. But yesterday, I did write to the president of the BNTU proposing that we might be able to be of assistance to those teachers who are on strike because we believe that we can assist if the BNTU believes that it can put forward the monies that are withheld as a monthly contribution from the teachers to go into a strike fund. That is a way to make sure that our teachers are comfortable, especially since the children are at the forefront of whatever it is we're doing here, and we believe that there is the need for make-up time to happen. Now, if it is that teachers aren't paid, especially from the government, if the payment is withheld, then that argument about, or the question about having teachers go back to the classroom to assist over time to help students to make up time becomes difficult, because if you don't pay me, you can't expect me to go back. But if it is that there can be a kind of payment from the strike fund subsidized by the government, then that gives us a foot into the negotiations to try to work out make up time for the students. I did write to President Palacio. He answered very quickly to say that he believed that my invitation to a meeting today, Friday, was very short notice, and that he needed to consult with the Council of Management. I wrote back to him promptly to say that while I apologize about the late notice, that in fact he would understand and he would appreciate that time is of the essence in all of this. Teachers are expecting to be paid next Friday, and we want to make sure that we do all that we need to do in order to make sure that that payment is not late.
The situation remains fluid as there is still a meeting pending between the ministry and the BNTU, which Minister Patrick Faber had sought to have this morning, but due to time constraints, both parties have agreed to meet at a later date. The situation with Belize's correspondent bank services, with some foreign banks severing relationships with many Caribbean banks, is still a tenuous one. Today, Governor of the Central Bank of Belize, Joy Grant, stated that although some solutions have been found to address the de-risking problem, there is still more to be done for the economy to be in a safe zone.
The de-risking situation continues, and it's a very serious situation. You have international organizations, the IMF, the IDB, FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, and others, all engaged in this, in trying to find an answer to this problem, because that is what it is. We're fortunate to have Crown agents come into the country, and there are several banks that are now using them to clear for foreign exchange transactions. But it is a situation that continues. We in Belize have taken a lead role in at meetings to say that the Caribbean has been the one most affected by de-risking, and Belize in the forefront of trying to find a solution, because we have been really adversely affected. This is not going to be solved anytime soon, but I would want to say that I see some very small steps of the international community understanding that if a solution is not found to this problem, what we are doing, we are sending the money on the ground where the black market is going to blossom, and that is not, I don't think that's the intent. Nobody wants that to happen. So we are making sure that the international community hear from us, but it's always important to hear from us in the context of CARICOM and other regional groupings, and we hope that soon we'll be able to give even more positive news on this issue.
Belize began seeing banks sever relationships with offshore banks in 2014, and last year a prominent bank also ceased providing services to Belizean banks. In late September, the government of Belize made a payment of $67 million for the Belize Telemedia Limited settlement to the Ashcroft Group. The administration came under criticism after concerns were raised about the danger of running low on foreign currency. Today, Governor of the Belize Central Bank, Joy Grant, provided an update of the state of Belize's foreign currency.
We are very much engaged in reviewing our foreign currency situation, foreign exchange situation on a regular basis, even maybe more than before, and also looking to projections so that the central bank will be able to ensure that the payments are there in the future. But I want to assure the Belizean public that there is no crisis with foreign exchange. We have foreign exchange. We are doing everything as a jurisdiction to make sure that foreign exchange will be there for the business community and others who needs it. However, because we have said before that there's been a large outflow within the last few months because of these extraordinary payments, that there's been a decrease, but that there is sufficient foreign exchange in the system for us to continue to operate.
How much do we have?
We have, and it changes every day. So the last time I checked, we had $315 million.
The People's United Party is calling on the government to carry out a national referendum on offshore drilling and to support a ban on any seismic and multi-beam tests. In release, the PUP reminded the government that on December 1st, 2015, cabinet ministers adopted a ban on offshore oil exploration in areas along the Belize Barrier Reef system and within the 7 World Heritage Sites in Belize. PUP Senator Valerie Woods also reminded the Barrow administration that they also decided that in the areas falling outside the banned zones, no seismic and exploration drilling would be conducted without conducting stringent environmental studies.
Back in 2015, the government of Belize did issue a ban, or a moratorium if you will, on offshore drilling, particularly as it relates to the Belize Barrier Reef system. And in areas that was not specific to that system, but was near that system, it was very clear in the government press release back in 2015 that there should be stringent environmental studies. For obvious reasons, it is a critical natural resource. And let's not forget that the World Heritage Site was also in danger of being put off that list. So the People's United Party, considering the feedback that it has gotten from the coalition to save Belize's natural heritage, and of course on the outcry expressed from the community of San Pedro, clearly believes that the seismic survey and multi-beam surveys that were already contracted by government and was about to get underway, some indications are already started, that it not only needs to be suspended, but it should be banned, and all activities related to offshore drilling should be banned so that the people of Belize can have proper ventilation on the issue, and that we feel should be done through a referendum.
The PUP urges all Belizeans to support an official national referendum on offshore drilling and to support a ban on any seismic and multi-beam tests pending the results of a referendum that determines if Belizeans support or reject offshore oil exploration and drilling in Belize. The Central Bank of Belize has introduced the Automated Payment and Securities Settlement System, APS-3, today. APS-3 seeks to make the domestic banking system more innovative and brings benefits to the customers. Marilyn Garner Usher, Deputy Governor Operations of the Central Bank of Belize, tells us about the process and the objectives.
The Central Bank did recognize on its own that our payment systems needed reform. However, there was an initiative by the Western Hemisphere heads of governments to reform payment systems in Latin America and the Caribbean. And the Central Bank was asked to be a member of that working group. We participated in certain exercises that found the specific inefficiencies in our systems that we needed to address. And so from there, we got technical assistance from this payment system group that we were a part of, and conducted our country study in 2006 with commitment from the very top, the board, and complete commitment, visible support from Governor Isigiri. We were able to admit this or include this project as a strategic initiative in the central bank's project portfolio. Every single domestic bank right now is fully on board, they're fully connected to the system, and today they are operating via the system. So there is one payment instrument, the check, which I don't have a problem with, that will be coming on in the next 3 weeks.
Governor of the Central Bank, Joy Grant, stated that with the APS, Belize is propelling itself into the technological and economical future. She also spoke on the cost of the program.
Any country to develop has to embrace technology. And this is a way for the financial system in Belize to embrace technology so that we become more efficient, and hopefully that the cost to the consumer over time will decrease for transactions that they do now without thinking, but that are important for the running of this economy.
The investment that was placed into this project for the past 6 years, is it worth it, what we're going to get out of it?
Well, we didn't say the figure, but I could tell you that it's millions of dollars for the equipment and for staff time. But to echo what the chairman said, it's not a choice. We have to move into the future, and to do that we have to make sure that we have the systems in place. For example, if you were waiting for 5 to 7 days to get the funds in your account and you now could get it in 1 day, that means that you could do more with that money over time. And for the small transactions on an individual basis, it probably doesn't seem like much, but for large value transactions, there's a lot that can be done with those funds if they have it available in a much shorter period of time.
Grant spoke on security issues and how important they are for consumers.
Immediately, funds from, now you would get between banks for customers will be fast, but the important thing is funds between banks, intra-bank transfers, because that would take much longer in the past. Now it will be done faster. But bear in mind that this is the core of the system. We had to put this in place first, and then several other benefits will come. We heard this morning about mobile banking and internet banking that will become more efficient. And that is, of course, to come into pace with what's happening internationally. So there are initial steps, but the whole plan is to make sure that there are other payment systems, etc., that will come on over time. All the countries are looking at changing their national payment systems. So it is very good that we are in the forefront of this move.
The team at Central Bank spent 6 years developing this system. Yesterday, we reported of the alleged mismanagement of monies within the Belize Workers' Union. Tonight, we present you with the checks written out to the chairman and executive members of the union. Financial statements were obtained by Love News that show between April 13, 2016 and October 4, 2016, 34 checks were issued out to Ramiro Gongora, Gilberto Castillo, Hector Castillo, and Malco Cabrera, totaling $15,330. The checks were cashed using 3 of the union's bank accounts. Those accounts are now dry, and so the union is broke. In fact, the bank statement shows that there is an overdraft of over $24,000. When we contacted Gongora yesterday, he told us that the membership told him not to speak to the media and said that the BWU is planning to hold its annual general meeting. Well, one person who is coming forward with a lot of documented information is Samantha Carlos. Carlos was the front desk clerk of the BWU for 3 years. She was fired on September 9th, and she believes it was because she was raising the alarm to what she considers irregular behavior by the executive members. Carlos told Love News that for more than a year she has been writing to the executive of the BWU, questioning their decisions in regards to the union's money. Today, Carlos gave us the entire rundown.
I believe that they're trying to hide the deeds that they're doing, the workers' savings and their checks. Because the union has 3 accounts. 3 people sign on these accounts. Only 3 people are allowed to sign on the accounts. And the very 3 people who are signing on the accounts are removing checks after hours from the office and writing the checks to themselves from the workers' savings, not only the general account. And I believe that this is wrong, because if you don't have any savings, then what gives you the right to squander away somebody else's savings? You have no right to touch that money because it is not yours. I could show you the checks now.
So this one, I see it was sent to Gilberto Castillo for 160.
Workers' savings. It's from the workers' savings.
Savings.
As you know,
one to Gilberto Castillo, workers' saving $200.
Look at the dates.
This one is on the 15th
Of September.
of this year. 16th of September, and just a day.
Back to back.
Another one to Ramiro Gongo for $410. 15th of September.
It's the same day. My experience was for the past 2 months that before I was fired, I would come into the office and I would notice that the desk has been ransacked. It doesn't look the same way that I left it the night before. But when I go and I review the account online, I notice that the series of the checks are coming. They're not following sequence. If we are at check number 501, logically check 510 would be in that mix, 508, 510. But we are receiving check 700 and add, 600 and add. The series is not in sequence, which then alerted me. I wanted to see whose checks these were. And when I opened the checks, lo and behold, these very 3 people that are signing on these checks are removing the checks. And when I asked them about the checks, this one says, oh, I gave it to Cabrera. Cabrera says, I gave it to Castillo. Where is the stub? They don't know where the stub is. They don't have the voucher. They don't have no receipt. So what am I supposed to do with it? Write it as a loan? Wait, I'll tell you later, they tell me.
How much money do the accounts have, and how much do they have now?
Well, at the 9th of September, it was at $29,800 and something that workers' savings had. And they had about $8,000, well, should have had $8,000 in general. But this is on paper, because if you're looking at the bank account, it's negative. It has been bled. The strike fund was, well, they had a couple thousand in there, and then it bled, and now I think $172 is in there. They're saying that they have loaned it out in loans. Okay, I've loaned it out in loans, so show me all of the vouchers now then. Show me the receipts. Show me where the members signed for these loans. Show me something. That's what I want, because I don't think Belize Bank is lying. The statements can't lie. I mean, you could take a look for yourself. This was as of the 11th of October. And as of the 12th morning, it's a negative figure. The overdraft facility which they have has been blown wide open.
The BWU has about 260 members who contribute about $7 weekly. Carlos says that the members are now very concerned.
Now the workers are riled up. The workers need to stand up because it is their money. You can't go to Heritage Bank or Atlantic Bank and say, you know, let me borrow X and Y savings for today and I'll put it back sometime later. No, it doesn't work that way.
What did the workers say? You've spoken to some of them.
I've spoken to some of them. They want to remove these people. But you see, our membership has been kept in the dark all this while. And we have not been given seminars, we have not been taken on educational, you know, to educate the membership. So the membership doesn't know what to do. They don't know how to go about to remove these people.
They just pay their
dues and believe that everything is working, you know, because they have entrusted this money and faith in these people who they believe should be leaders that are just. But the leaders are the same ones that are taking advantage of them. I mean, I can't stand up for that. I'm really sorry. I can't.
How many members do they have and what's the contribution?
About 200 weekly, $7 a week.
Okay.
260 members.
So that will...
That's only in dues because the workers that are on that file, on that list there, save additional. There are people that are their salaries are about $175 a week. Subtract the $7 dues. Some of them are setting aside $10 and $15 weekly since January for December. Because when Christmas comes, they want any money, but that's the only way they find it easy to save. They take it out, want $10 out, and every week can pay. This is wrong. When young people want their money Christmas, what they want to do? They are talking about waiting until November and then they want to get somebody to come in and just give them one lead time. Maybe this is one of the words where one of the members tell me how they said they want to pay it back $20. Now tell me how ridiculous that song.
Carlos, who's a paying member of the union, says she's planning to have a meeting on October 28th to further discuss the matter with the membership.
The commissioner advised me that we need to get the membership on board. The membership needs to know. So I need to call a meeting. And well, we've reviewed the constitution and I am in my capacity because I am a paying member of the union. And so I'm putting together a meeting for the 28th, which we were supposed to have AGM on the 28th of October, which is mandated by our constitution too. And they were trying to postpone it, but we don't need any food nor beverages at this thing. We just need the people to come out to listen, because I am organizing the meeting on the 28th at 2:30, which will be at the Belize Workers Union grounds. And I have invited speakers. I have invited Mr. Horace Patton, the founder of the union. I invited the commissioner. He is going to relay this information now, because if they don't believe me, then maybe they listen to him. But people need to be aware. These people who have monies in there, some of them are telling me that they cannot get their savings. I believe right then and there we will call for a resolution to be made that these people need to be removed. And since we have the membership, the quorum, we have met quorum, then we can vote immediately to have them removed, because we are the members that we dictate what happened today. And if they want me to sign the petition, then we will have the crowd out there already.
They say that you're trying to undermine the union and the executive.
They have been saying that. If I was trying to undermine, then I wouldn't be writing them every month. Every month. I have letters that I have written to the board, and these letters that I'm showing you, I have read them to the board personally.
Before news time, we attempted to contact Gongora once more for comment, but our phone calls went unanswered. The Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Tourism, in collaboration with the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARFA, and the Belize Tourism Board, launched the Caribbean Tourism and Health Program. The goal of the program is to improve the health, safety, quality, and sustainability of the Caribbean tourism industry. According to Health Minister Pablo Marin, this will contribute to the industry being more competitive, resilient, and sustainable.
Well, I think the program is something very, very essential to the country. It is more to monitor any person coming in, tourists. I think you all know that we have health inspectors in the different areas, in the airports and in the port. But we cannot look at the person who is coming in. We cannot monitor them at that particular point. So now at the hotel settings, now they will have a checklist of all the individuals. If you have fever, you have stomach problems, then you can do that checklist, and that will be sent directly to Velmopan, to the central, and that's supposed to trigger some kind of information to us and say, we have this problem, and also that will be sent to CARFA, which will have the different regions also.
How would the data be used?
Well, the data will be used like how Dr. Lisa mentioned. If you have one case of Zika, that's supposed to trigger and say, that's an alert. Then our team's supposed to go and monitor that alert. In the case of fever, if you have one or two cases, they will give the numbers. But that's supposed to trigger an alert to us, and then it is where the health inspectors or doctors will go and see that hotel or that facility.
Minister Marin says one of the expectations of the program is create greater mutual understanding and collaboration at national and regional levels between tourism, health and environment, and other stakeholders. A few months ago, Patrick Faber took over the seat of the first deputy party leader for the United Democratic Party and the post of deputy prime minister, which were both previously held by Gaspar Vega. In November of 2015, Vega was stripped of the land portfolio, and that was given to Senator Godwin Hulse. It would all seem part of a strategic plan, perhaps almost prophetic, that these movements would occur a short time before Vega found himself in a land scandal that has left a bitter taste in even the mouths of some stalwart UDP supporters. But having resigned from cabinet seems to be a slap on the wrist for the indiscretion surrounding the land flip involving the former minister's son, Andre Vega. We say a slap on the wrist, but the Deputy Prime Minister says not so.
In your question, you assume that there is some kind of letting off the hook for Honorable Vega. And I can't agree with that premise. You've heard the Prime Minister and, in fact, the Minister of Lands, Honorable Vanessa Retreat, say that, in fact, there is an audit of the activities that happened in the Ministry of Natural Resources, and that, in fact, that they will continue to pursue that, and also the recovery of the monies having to do with the case related to Mr. Vega and his son. So I don't agree with the premise that he has been let off the hook. Nobody has said anything about letting Mr. Vega off the hook insofar as it relates to that case, or in fact any other case that might show its head as a result of the audit report that the Auditor General is saying will come. So Mr. Vega is not getting an easy ride.
Fine, you're saying that it hasn't been concluded that a crime has been committed, but don't you find it disturbing that discretion was not utilized on Mr. Vega's part? I mean, you're the Minister of Lands.
This is your son.
This is your son. He bears your blood, your DNA, your last name, and you are aware of the habit of flipping lands within the ministry, and you still go ahead and sign off on $400,000. Does that not at least seem unethical or unacceptable, if not criminal, but use your discretion? $400,000.
If it is, you're asking me if I've ever been concerned, or if I'm concerned. Yes, I am. But I am not going to crucify my colleague that there is due process that ought to be given. If I am concerned, yes, but let's give the process a chance to see if there is some kind of concrete evidence to what we all observe to be the case, or we all suppose we know about the case. If there is the kind of evidence, then let's get that kind of evidence. Let the investigation continue as we know it is being continued, and then let the chips fall where they may once the result of that comes out. My personal decision, your personal decision, or anybody's personal decision not backed up with the evidence or the facts will not get us very far. And you know that there is difficulty. You know that, in fact, that I have put myself forward against Mr. Vega in the past. I have always been concerned, and that is where I leave it, just at the concern. If I don't have any evidence, I can't do anything about it.
And while Vega is no longer a member of cabinet, Minister John Saldívar remains on 1-week leave at the directive of the Prime Minister. A brief release was sent out from the government's press office indicating that the government's intention to investigate the matter between William Mason and Minister Saldívar surrounding the Belmopan bandits. According to Faber, he supports the decision and trusts that the truth will come to light.
Week in government is tough. I'll tell you that there are only weeks that are more tough, and I would agree with you that this has been a very difficult week for the United Democratic Party. And I don't want to get into too much of that position. I will only say that I support my colleague Minister Saldívar in trying to clear his name in this situation. And I will tell you also that while I support him, I support the Prime Minister in trying to make sure that our party, and more importantly, the government, is on the up and up. And I support his judgment in making the call, as did Minister Saldívar. If you recall, he put out a post to say that he respected the decision of the Prime Minister and that he's cooperating. And I hope that in the time that the Prime Minister seeks the clarification that he needs, that that clarification will come for Minister Saldívar's sake. But I support my colleague despite any differences that people might want to see. He is my colleague, and I support him 100% in his aim to try to clear his name.
So doesn't this prove that men are infallible?
Corruption is going to happen anywhere you go, once there are human beings involved, and in fact, you've heard me on the topic before to say that yes, there are corrupted politicians, but there are also corrupted people in the electorate. I'll give you an example, Daniel. I was called by one individual yesterday to say, oh, the customs are raiding my house, or and I said, well, what are they looking for? They said, well, we have some contraband stuff here, some beer and everything. So, what is it that you expect me to do about that? The individual wanted me to get involved and to call somebody and to stop that because I supported you and I'm saying there are pressures coming from people in the electorate out there, and some of it seems very simple. I want to go to free zone. You can't get me a pass when you know you don't belong in the free zone. Or they are giving a parking ticket. Can you get this ticket written off for me? There are numerous things. People asking you for money on a daily, large sums of money. I'm going to jail tomorrow. You could give me $2,000, make I not go to jail. Where is it that politicians are to get these money from? And anybody would dish out that kind of money involving something, because the salaries that politicians make, while some will argue is a good salary, it's not the kind of money that you could do all of this kind of stuff with. So yes, there are these temptations, but we maintain that what makes the United Democratic Party different from any other political party is what we do when that corruption is proven and the facts are given. And that is what sets us apart. It's not that corruption is not happening, it is what is done. And if you check the record of the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, you will see that every time he is confronted with these situations and he's given the kind of evidence and facts that he's able to do something, he tries to be fair to all parties concerned, but he acts. And you might not be satisfied with the extent to which he acts. You might say that there's a lot to be desired in what he could do, but you cannot deny that he has acted. And that is a far cry different from how the PUPs operated in government.
A post-mortem conducted on the body of attorney Michael Young is certified cause of death as traumatic shock due to massive head injury as a consequence of gunshot wound. The body of the 61-year-old Young was found inside his home in the Bella Vista area of Belize City on Tuesday afternoon. Since his death, friends and colleagues have been reminiscing on his life. Young was admitted to the bar in Belize in 1977 and was elevated to the status of senior counsel in 1996 in recognition of his excellence in the practice of law. Young also played an important role in creating the People's Coalition Committee, a group of persons focused on enhancing the relationship between the police department and the public. Today, Assistant Commissioner of Police Desiree Phillips told us more.
A sensitization on the role and the function of the People's Coalition Committee was done. To our surprise, that was only to sensitize the community of the role and the function of the committee, but the persons attending the meeting were so enthused by the idea, the initiative, the committee was formed instantly. And I can clearly recall that Mr. Broster is the one who first nominated our chair, and Mr. Michael Young is the one who seconded that motion for Ms. Alifa Ellerington to be the chairperson of Eastern Division's People's Coalition Committee. From then, we have been meeting very regularly, discussing matters of concern, of interest, and crime, and to see how this committee can help us to improve on our mission and our objective or our mandate. Of course, it has to do with partnership of the community and the police. Actually, there are 3 levels within the committee. We have an executive, we have a general membership, and we have ex officio members. And it's very alive. Our executive membership is 10. We're now left with 9. And I want to encourage anybody within the community who has a desire for advocate for change and to assist us in partnership with making our society a better place, to come forward and also join our People's Coalition Committee.
The chairperson of the People's Coalition Committee is Councillor Alifa Ellerington. A campaign to control vampire bats affecting cattle and other livestock continues in the Toledo district. We hear more in this report from correspondent Paul Mahang.
The campaign program is a joint effort of several agencies, as explained by Toledo District Agricultural Coordinator Husaka Tush.
Vampire Bat Control campaign is presently conducted along with BAHA, the Toledo Livestock Producers Association, through Mr. Arden Edwards, the chairman, and OIRSA program in Belmopan. A couple months ago, BAHA took samples from animals reported of sick cases in the Toledo district. The test results from Panama tested that these farms were positive cases of rabies, not only in Toledo but as well in the Cayo district and Anjouac district. The objective of the program is to trap vampire bats in the radius of 10 miles around infected farms of positive cases of rabies. The phase 1 was completed on September 26 to the 30th, 2016, and now phase 2 is in effective, which will continue next week. The method used is that Ministry, BAHA, and the Toledo Livestock Producers Association and representatives meet with village leaders where positive cases of rabies to inform the program of the trapping and to ensure that farmers collaborate willingly. What is conducted is that the corrals are in working conditions and surroundings are clean. The nets are placed in the evening for trapping to be conducted in the night. This is conducted through moon pattern, ensuring that the moon is appropriate for bat trapping, especially the time when bats come out to feed in the night. And thanks to the PG Polyclinic, Mr. Shaw, personnel that conducting the trapping are vaccinated against rabies, and as well farmers where positive rabies cases were tested. And we will continue to attend farmers that have problems with vampire bats affecting pigs and horses. We're just asking their patients to be kind and wait, since the cases is a lot of reports here in the Toledo district. The phase 1 resulted in capturing of 37 vampire bats. The bats were paced and released.
Husaka Tush of the Ministry of Agriculture also explained that the paste put on the 37 trapped vampire bats is poisonous to other bats that come in contact with the bat and paste as the bats return to their bat colony. Tush confirmed that phase 1 of the Vampire Bats Control Campaign, September 26 to 30 in Toledo, focused on bat trapping in San Miguel, Aguacate, Dump and El Ridgeville area, while phase 2 currently in progress is focusing on Mabilha, Otosha, Corazon and other villages in southern parts of Toledo. This report is sponsored by King's Energy Uno service stations in Punta Gorda and Big Falls, Toledo, where with every $50 purchase you get a chance to win first prize $2,000, second prize $1,000, third prize $500 and 22 other smaller prizes to be raffled on December 17, 2016. Reporting for Love News, Paul Mahong, Punta Gorda.
The reigning Queen of the Bay will be holding a fundraising event to assist two Belize City children who are receiving medical treatment in the United States. Correspondent Harry Arzu has the story.
Queen of the Bay Belize, Crystal Castillo, along with her partners, will be holding a fundraising event for the two children who were severely burnt as a result of a house fire that occurred this month in Belize City while they were at home. Castillo spoke with Love News about this event.
We're going to have the Family Fun Day. This is under the Queen of the Bay umbrella. We're encouraging families to head on out to Elehobene Park. This is for October 29th, starting at 9. We're raising funds for Ian and Empress. Those were the children that got burnt in the fire in Belize City. And they're currently at the Shriners Hospital undergoing medical treatment. The treatment is free of cost. However, they had to pay for their plane ticket, and that's why I am fundraising some money for them. This Family Fun Day entails games for the children. Food and drinks will be on sale. We'll have entertainment. We'll have face painting, punch board. I believe we rise by lifting others up, hence the reason why I am doing this Family Fun Day, to help those who are in need. Today for me, tomorrow for you. I'm planning to raise $10,000. However, that won't be only in the Stand Creek district. This project will be taken countrywide, and hopefully by February, that is our target, by February we will raise the goal that we're aiming for.
Castillo also is appealing to the wider public to assist by contributing financially to this worthy cause. Reporting for Love News from Dangriga, I'm Harry Arzu.
The Belize Barrier Reef is still on the UNESCO endangered list. The organization met in March and Belize remained on the endangered list, but with hopes that it could be removed provided that the government takes specific steps to ensure the protection of the coral system. Nadia Bud, marine scientist at the World Wildlife Foundation, encouraged the government to fulfill those requirements.
We want to encourage the government of Belize to be more proactive in trying to address the indicators that the World Heritage Site Committee has asked them to address under the agreement with UNESCO to get the Belize Barrier Reef System off the World Heritage Site list. That the deadline for them to address those indicators are fastly approaching. The end of December, they have until the end of December to address those things. So we want to encourage them to be more proactive in trying to address those.
And the 1 kilometer buffer.
And to clarify the 1 kilometer buffer, you know, the World Heritage Site Committee had asked them to clarify that 1 kilometer buffer that they had said, you know, would be the buffer around the World Heritage Sites, any marine protected areas, and the Barrier Reef System. It need to be clarified, you know, justify why they chose that.
The Belize Barrier Reef comprises one of UNESCO's 7 World Heritage Sites. Today, the Belize Cancer Society held its annual luncheon. We caught up with the cancer survivors as they celebrated their victory over the terminal illness. Heather Renault, senior administrator of the organization, told us more about the luncheon.
Today we're having our breast cancer survivors luncheon, and we're celebrating cancer survivors in general as well. So today we honor our survivors by having a nice luncheon for them. They can come out, they can relax, have an afternoon of music and entertainment, and they got a gift package courtesy of SMART, where they get a free health package, or some of them got mammograms. And they were also graced with the presence of Mrs. Kim Simplice Barrow, which is a cancer survivor as well, and she gave them some very motivational words. We honored our vice president from Belmopan. She has been our vice president for 19 years, and she developed the Belmopan branch. So we have honored her to show her extraordinary work, and she's a cancer survivor, to show the type of woman she is. Because now we're seeing more women becoming brave. They're coming out and showing that, you know, cancer is not a disease that you have to hide. Just because you lose a breast or you're diagnosed with breast cancer or any other type of cancer, it's nothing to be ashamed of. You come out and you be an advocate and you support somebody else that might be going through that battle, that might not have the strength that you have. So by seeing all our survivors, everybody that's here, we have lost some, but seeing the ones that survive, it really gives us that message of faith and hope, showing that, you know, if all of us together, we can make a difference.
Cancer survivor Beverly Swayze, also the vice president of the Belmopan Cancer Society, shared her story from detection to defeat.
It was 19 years ago. I had just turned 50. And one morning, I usually used to try to do my self-exam. And this particular morning, I woke up and I said, oh, long time I haven't done an exam. And so I started to examine my breast and, you know, the areas that are included in the breast area, and I found this lump. So that's when I found out, and yes, I was worried because I hoped that it hadn't spread and that I'd caught it in time. And he called me in and he said, Miss Swayze, he said, I think you need to seek treatment abroad because it's malignant. Because he had told me that 80% of the time it's benign, but 20% it might be cancer. I had lots of hope, and I wasn't scared. I said, I just need to do what I have to do.
Swayze was able to defeat cancer 19 years ago, and she sends a message to any cancer victim who may be currently fighting this illness.
I would tell them, as long as you have faith in God, and you trust that He is in charge of your life and He has a purpose for you, find your purpose, and move towards healing yourself, because no doctor can heal you, nobody can heal you. You have to want to be healed, and you have to know that you can be healed, because with God, all things are possible.
Heather Renault stated that advancements in cancer treatment have provided the opportunity for more cancer patients to live a better life. More than 100 cancer survivors attended today's luncheon. The Small Business Development section of Beltrade is holding a workshop for women to engender an entrepreneurial spirit in them. Sarita Bejarano, Client Management Officer at the Small Business Development Center at Beltrade, tells us what the workshop is all about.
What we're trying to emphasize in today's training is to promote entrepreneurship in gender, targeting mainly females in Belize. We want to promote entrepreneurship to give a rise in women in Belize. So through this workshop, we're going to be presenting tools, methodologies in how to improve entrepreneurship in women. We have a large group of women entrepreneurs in Belize. So through that information, we came about noticing that there is a need for entrepreneurship in gender be emphasized in Belize. Thus, we partnered with Sempromipe, and this is an initiative not only being done here in Belize, but also in the Central America region too. What we're expecting out of this workshop is to equip these organizations with better techniques on how to work with female entrepreneurs, how to give them the proper advising service, how to give them the proper tools to go about starting their business.
Elisa Zakskowaska, consultant for the project, shared how the material women are learning today will help create a shift in the business world.
What can we foresee already happening in the future with this new material that they're learning, with this networking that they're forming?
Well, that we're gonna, number one, take out women from self-employment and put them into context when they can start thinking about growing businesses, and growing not just many businesses, but growing businesses that can grow, that can escalate. And I think that is very important, because when studying a little bit about Belize, I think this is very essential. Number two, it's breaking some stereotypes about the industries or services that women are providing, from the traditional ones related to food, related to agriculture, related to some kind of sewing or this kind of activities, and move them or shift them a bit more, thinking about possibilities that lie within technology, within technology use and technology creation, within the orange economy, which is kind of a new concept these days, where the economy or the economical activities are based on the talent, but know how to exploit the talent, how to create brands, create brands to be visible, to be a product of exportation. That is going to be very, very important in the nearest future.
Representative from the Young Women Christian Academy, Yvette Gill, spoke with us about the skills that they are learning and are going to pass on at the work.
Learning about the techniques and the best practices in establishing businesses, small businesses for women, the experiences in other countries, and from that we can extract what applies to us. Since our task in this country is to provide skills and training for women, it fitted well into the category of things that we do. So we are here with taking advantage of the opportunity to learn and to pass on our learning to the people who come into our facilities.
I just want to emphasize the importance in encouraging entrepreneurship in Belize, and also to encourage our females to want to start their business. Sometimes we come up with an idea and we are afraid of the different challenges that may arise as an entrepreneur. We offer the assistance at the Small Business Development Center, and through these workshops we want to equip more the organizations to better know how to direct them in terms of starting their own business.
The project consultant believes that one of the biggest challenges that women face are the way that they are socialized in regard to business risks and the resources that are available to them. 15 organizations are participating in the Beltrade Women Entrepreneurship Workshop. Police in San Ignacio are investigating a chopping incident that occurred at around 6 o'clock last night on Bishop Martin Street in Santa Elena, Town, Cayo District. Reports indicate that upon making checks at the San Ignacio Community Hospital, investigators found 2 men being treated for injuries. Further investigations indicate that the men, 46-year-old Felipe Guzman and 36-year-old Henry Baptist, were the 2 persons involved in the chopping incident, as Guzman bore injuries to the back of his head, whilst Baptist was seen with cut wounds to the left shoulder, right cheek, and in the nose. Guzman was reportedly walking home after leaving a store when he passed Baptist, who uttered some words to him. Guzman responded, and that was the start of the physical altercation, where Baptist allegedly inflicted a cut wound to Guzman. Guzman received medical treatment at the San Ignacio Community Hospital, while Baptist was transferred to the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital in Belize City. 3 men and 2 minors of Belize City were arrested in western Belize last night after they allegedly held up an 18-year-old student of Santa Elena town as she walked home on Salazar Street. The student told police that it was around 9 o'clock last night when 2 men approached her and forcibly took away her cellular phone and school bag valued at about $400. Quick response from the authorities in San Ignacio town led to the interception of a gold-colored vehicle with its occupants being 27-year-old Beryl Card of a Balama area, 21-year-old Shane Nunez of Niels Penn Road, 28-year-old Dion Garcia of Barak Road, and the 2 minors, both of Pickstock Street address. A search of the vehicle led to the discovery of the stolen items as well as a knife. The investigations are ongoing. Teamwork involving the Belmopan police officers, members of the K-9 unit, and the mobile interdiction team has led to the arrest of 5 individuals following the discovery of 54 grams of marijuana. A special anti-drug operation was held yesterday morning just before 6 o'clock, and as a part of the operations, a residence in Camalote Village, Kaya District was searched. According to the police report, the officers had a search warrant for controlled drugs and firearms in the presence of the homeowner, Rose Hoare, and with the assistance of the K-9 dogs, the search was executed. Along the fence where a pig pen was situated, the officers found the controlled drug in a black plastic bag tucked inside a coconut shell. As a result, Hoare and the other occupants of the house were taken into the Belmopan police station, where they were charged with the possession of a controlled drug. During the same time, the home of Dennis Banner in Camalote Village was also searched, where they found 92 grams of marijuana, for which he was subsequently arrested and charged for drug trafficking. Our thought conditioner for today is from Paulo Coelho. It reads, quote, "We can never judge the lives of others because each person knows only their pain and renunciation. It's one thing to feel that you are on the right path, but it's another to think that yours is the only path." End of quote. This has been the Evening News on Love Television. We invite you to log on to our website at www.lovefm.com for the transcripts of our news stories. We thank you for joining us and hope that you have a safe and enjoyable weekend. We'll see you on Monday. I am Taryn Butcher.